Yo, what is going on, guys? Got a video here today from Modern Dating here titled Man Outsmarts Ex-Wife Who Wanted His Inheritance, which is pretty disgusting when you take a moment to realize that she is trying to steal from a guy who recently lost a loved one. Today's video was suggested to me by Matrix of Madness. I'm going to leave both of their channels linked in the pinned comments, so make sure you go and subscribe to these guys. Don't forget to leave your own comments, and let's jump right into the video.
Everything has always been put into his parents' name.
Ma'am, that does not qualify, nor does it. Move on, please.
I was just alive here.
Move on.
She wanted to take part of his inheritance, but was shocked after realizing that everything was under his parents' name. I guess he was quicker.
You inherited $400,000?
No, I didn't.
If there is any form of silver lining to the toxic cesspool known as social media, it's how modern women are openly exposing themselves by freely admitting how they want to use men for their money by any means necessary. This guy was smart for seeing that and protecting his finances.
Who inherited the rest of that, then?
I don't know what you're referring to. The rest of what?
When you received that IRA, you did not tell me that it was $400,000 to be split amongst you, your brother, your parents, and your mom's brother.
I did not tell you that. And I also can't speak to what other people have inherited. I can only speak to what
I'm asking you if that is what you said to me.
I already just answered.
Modern women expose themselves the second there's a chance for them to get a little bit of money. She's trying to paint this man as a liar, and instead of falling for an emotional trap, this man stays cool, calm, and collected by choosing his words carefully. Good on him.
No, I didn't tell you that.
So you were lying to me then, or are you lying to me now?
I didn't tell you that, and I also don't know the relevance.
The relevance is you hiding things.
I don't hide anything.
Because if you were to get one, wouldn't your parents and everybody else get one?
Relevance?
Yeah, objection, Your Honor.
Relevance is you hiding finances.
Her demeanor is unprofessional and incredibly inappropriate for a court proceeding. She's getting emotional and trying to get sympathy from the judge by trying to play the victim, even though that man's inheritance is his own business and has nothing to do with her whatsoever.
Okay.
Once again.
Ma'am, yeah, you haven't produced any documents to show that anything has been hidden. And I've given you some leeway to get into that, and you simply come back to the same thing, that he's hiding stuff, but you don't have any documentation that he's hiding anything. So unless you can produce anything, you need to go into a different line of questioning.
One thing that will never stop being funny about modern women is how they think that their delusion applies to the real world. She thinks that her word is evidence when it comes to the court of law, and she cannot possibly understand that you actually need proof to back up an accusation.
Well said. You can't be making statements you can't back up. She was given the opportunity to bring evidence, but she didn't. Now she is trying hard to get him to say something she can lean on and use against him, but he is smarter than that. He is well prepared for everything.
Your Honor, I was waiting until my statement to let it all out. I have never been allowed to know any finances. Everything has always been put into his parents' name.
This is a smart move on the ex-husband's part. By putting everything in his parents' name, she doesn't need to know about the personal finances because nothing belongs to her ex-husband. It's strictly the business of his parents, and she has no right to know.
Ma'am, that does not qualify, nor does it, in fact, refute anything that the court has said that you need to produce. So if you have documentation, then you have a right, you had a right to produce that, and you didn't do that. So,
Your Honor, I do not have any paperwork about anything. Anything that I have learned is just recently. I was financially abused, mentally, emotionally, physically.
Move on, please.
I was just alive here.
That's rather disgusting. The second she realized that she's not going to get her way, she accuses this man of physically assaulting her. It's clear to everyone that she just blurted that out to try and buy some sympathy from the court because she lost the chance for an easy payday.
Move on. Again, you had a right to produce that. You didn't produce it. You could have engaged in, under the case scheduling order, you had a right to engage in discovery. You did not do that. And you did not produce any documentation as required by the case scheduling order. So I've given you leeway to ask him the questions, but
Your Honor,
no,
how
go
would
ahead
I
and
do?
ask questions, ma'am. I'm not going to just continue to engage in the same dispute with you. So go on.
The judge openly admits to giving her some leeway to try and produce some evidence of any wrongdoing, and she couldn't even do it. Everybody knows that she's just trying to take what this man has, and the court is not having it.
Okay. All right. So you want every other week with your children?
Yes.
Finally, they arrived somewhere. At this point, she realized there wasn't much to be done, as she couldn't make a case just with words. The judge was really clear. Unless you have evidence that supports your claims, they won't be taken into account.
Does anybody else find it sad how this woman referred to the kids as your children when discussing custody? There is such a petty detachment from the kids that she's acting like she wants nothing to do with them. What kind of a mother talks like that?
And this is something she just learned. She had her eyes on his inheritance, but she just found out that in reality, he owns nothing, and now she would have to forget that money. His inheritance is not hers. Just watch the YouTube so you don't have to. No alimony, no 401k. She gets to keep the car and child support. He's smart with his answers. Inheritance is that person's own property, not community property in a divorce.
Guys, I am not a financial advisor or a lawyer by any means, so don't take anything I say as advice, but it sounds to me like this is something that could have easily been found out by talking to a lawyer, which is something this man did, and she clearly didn't.
Inheritances are not income a spouse can ask for in the divorce. He knew what he was doing. Great job, sir. She is so confident in her interrogation skills. Inheritance is none of her business. She is not entitled to any of it. She had her eyes on his inheritance, but he was smarter and did what he could do to keep it out of her reach, and apparently it worked. The judge gave her the opportunity to produce any documentation to support her claims, but she was unable to do so. However, she still wanted her statements to be considered, and this is not how things work.
It's rather tragic how men need to go through these means to protect themselves from wives who want their money, but at the same time, it's also tragic how the divorce court system is set up in such a way that men have to resort to these means in the first place.
Even the lawyer was getting annoyed with her line of questions and its irrelevancy, and most would have the same reaction as she was going in circles, making everyone waste their time. And I was surprised that the judge allowed it to happen. At this point, she probably has the house, child support, and other assets, but she still wants to put her hands on his inheritance. However, he was smarter than her. He already knew her intentions, so he decided to prepare himself, which served him well. Now she will have to be content with what she already got from their divorce, as he didn't inherit anything.
Even though this woman was clearly lying about the abuse, and despite the fact that she made it obvious that she was trying to force her ex-husband into destitution, she still got away with a car and child support on top of that. And it's sad to see this was the best case scenario for the ex-husband.
His parents did. This is what greediness does to people. They are never satisfied with what they have. It's all about getting more. But it didn't work this time. Now, if she wants more money, she can either get a job if she doesn't have one or ask her employer for extra hours. But in the end, the case had a good outcome. The best part was when she realized there wasn't much she could have done at that point, and the only question that was left was related to the frequency he wanted to see his kids. She knew he was well prepared and that money was well secured, so giving up was the only thing left to be done.
Not to beat a dead horse here, but she tried to go with the nuclear option and accuse this man of abuse, even though it was obvious that he did no such thing. That man was lucky because an accusation like that, when heard by the wrong people, can be catastrophic to a man.
But my question is, why do we really need one? I've had a pretty large company even before I met you. So if we get married and then you decide to divorce me next year, then you leave with half of it, that's not fair.
But why are you already thinking about that?
Babe, it's something that I have to think about. I don't know why Danny's so surprised. The prenup's obviously something that we need to have in place. I built a business long before she even came into the picture, you know, and I have to protect that.
It's funny how this woman is accusing this man of assuming that the marriage is going to fail, when one of the most common talking points with a modern woman is how they need money in case the marriage goes under. If it wasn't for that subject, TikTok would have lost at least 2% of its overall content.
Like, you want to get married? I'm like trying to work with you.
I don't want to be emotional. I'm just not sure if you're doing this because you don't trust me or like you're not sure about our future.
Well, I think you're overthinking it.
I don't know how to explain this to you. I feel like you're not understanding what I'm saying.
I am understanding. It's not my intention to leave you.
If this woman wanted to spend the rest of her life with this man and truly cared for him and his peace, she would have zero problem signing a prenup. She would do it without question. But she obviously cares more about his money. That's why she's resorting to emotional drivel to get out of signing.
Bro, just cut her off, bro. That's an automatically red flag.
If you are marrying for love, you would have no reason to hesitate to sign the prenup. She has a plan. No prenup, no marriage. Most divorces are planned before the wedding. A prenup is mandatory. She went straight to crying. I would have rolled my eyes and walked out. She trying to make sure her exit plan is always available. Somebody send this to Travis Hunter. People change over time. Protect yourself at all costs.
This idea that a woman will only marry for love if a rich man doesn't make her sign a prenup is an insult to the intelligence of anybody with half a brain. She just outed herself, yet she will defend the idea that she is not a gold digger.
This is how you know people's real intentions. She wouldn't have minded if she was marrying for love, and this is how she unveiled her real plans. If she insists that she doesn't want to sign it, no marriage should happen. Why would you marry someone who is directly telling you that she is on it for money? This is when prenup becomes mandatory, and that would make her understand that she has two options. She either signs and we get married, or refuses to sign and it's over.
Regular guys get screwed over in divorce court all of the time, so imagine what a wealthy man must go through when he decides to get married. That man is forced to protect everything he's built, and modern women absolutely hate that.
This is a perfect example of someone who is getting married and is already preparing her exit plan. She has her eyes on half of what he got, but she will have to come up with another strategy as this won't work on him. This is a smart woman who want to play the long-term game, but he is smarter than that. He won't let her fool him with those crocodile tears.
So if we get married and then you decide to divorce me next year, then you leave with half of it, that's not fair.
But why are you already thinking about that?
Babe, it's something that I have to think about.
That's a completely fair point. Considering that the odds of divorce in the West is so high, men must think about what might happen if the marriage fails, because women like this are already assuming the marriage is going to fail the second that they say I do.
I'm not sure about you guys, but based on my understanding, her responses indicate that she is the one who is already thinking about it, because her objection indicates that his view of this matter goes against her plans. Otherwise, she would have agreed with it. She just wanted half of what she didn't work for, but he won't let it happen. He worked too hard just to split it with someone who did nothing for that empire. The only reason she was crying was that she just realized that he was not as naive as she expected, and now she knows that securing the bag will be impossible.
She could have had a good life if she just agreed to the prenup. She would have had a nice house, plenty of money, and would have wanted for nothing, but that is not good enough for her. But anyway, guys, we're going to be leaving today's episode there. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new here. Drop a comment, and I will see you all in the next one. Make sure you take care of yourselves. Peace.